All of us on completely separate wavelengths, like booked the exact same trip, exact same flight. How did we manage to plan pretty much the exact same trip without having any sort of correspondence whatsoever, right? Okay, first of all, the title of this video is probably way deeper than the actual content, so I beg, please manage your expectations, okay? I envy the girlies that can put together a well-researched, thought-provoking, thorough video about a specific topic, and on top of it, make it super aesthetic. Like, one of these days I'll be able to do that. But until then, I just want to yap, okay? I just want to yap about what's been on my mind lately, and recently that's been the topic of originality, or the lack thereof. Hello, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Isatu, and in today's video I want to talk about the topic of originality. Assuming you had a normal childhood, you probably grew up being told how special you were, right? And yes, while that is a very important part of childhood development, it can still be a bit jarring when you grow up and realize that you're not all that special. But hear me out. If you're anything like me, the thought of not being original or doing something in a way that like stands out enough can even hold you back from trying new things in the first place, right? For example, like starting a YouTube channel. But listen, I'm here to tell you or remind you that there is literally nothing new under the sun, right? Every idea has been talked about, every cooking method has been tried, every song that you listen to is probably inspired by another song or even completely sampled. And speaking of music, there are so many songs that I realized way later were sampled from much older songs. Like, there's barely ever anything that's so completely new, right? Like, every person that you meet reminds you of somebody else, whether it's their personality, the way they do their hair, the way they talk. Like, something about them reminds you of someone else because, you know, it's like, it's not original, okay? But this is not an attack on anybody, okay? I'm just saying. My point is, there's nothing out there that's truly original, and that's okay. The concept itself is actually quite liberating because it just takes so much of the pressure off of, you know, trying to like be an original something. Another way this presents itself in my mind is in like super small things. Like, have you ever been to an amusement park or like on vacation and just look around and just think about the fact that like, how's everybody here today? I literally think about that all the time. Like, why did every single one of us here decide to come here today? Like, why did everybody at Hershey Park decide to go to Hershey Park on this specific day? Is that couple here because it was the only day they had off together? Is that family here because they planned this trip a few months in advance? Is the person in front of me here because it was just a spur of the moment decision and they just got up and went to Hershey Park? What decisions did everybody make that led them to being at this place at this time, like at the same time as me, right? Like, I'm not the only one that woke up today and decided to go to Hershey Park. It just reminds me that like whatever I'm thinking or whatever I'm thinking of doing, someone else is probably thinking that exact same thing, if not something really, really similar. Now, with the Hershey Park example, of course you're not going there with the expectation of being at an amusement park by yourself. Like, that'd be ridiculous. It's just the idea that literally out of anything else, every single one of us there could have been doing instead, we all decided to go to Hershey Park on that same day. And I don't know, I just think it's interesting. Another experience that I had with this like similar experience thing was a few years ago when I was on vacation with a friend. And when we got there, my friend saw somebody that she knew, right? Lived in our city and everything. And I believe we were on the same flight coming. I don't remember taking note of that, but we were definitely at the same resort. We definitely arrived at the same time. And on our way back home, we were on the same flight home. So we all of us on completely separate wavelengths, like booked the exact same trip, exact same flight. Like, I don't know, I just thought it was so weird. Like, how did we manage to plan pretty much the exact same trip without having any sort of correspondence whatsoever, right? It was really interesting how we just managed to, yeah, literally plan the exact same trip, and we were from the same place, essentially. So, I don't know, I guess you can call it synchronicity, but It's interesting. Now this like shared experience thing goes beyond just places that we end up, right? It bleeds into experiences that we have or things that we go through. If you're anything like me, you spend a healthy amount of time on Reddit. And what Reddit has taught me is that I have not had a single original experience in my life. I'm telling you, whatever you're going through, there is somebody else on Reddit or some other corner of the internet that has gone through the exact same thing, right? If not the exact thing, then something very eerily similar. I'll be going through something and naturally I'll flock to the internet and like type it into Google, just like a general overview of the situation, just to like get advice and see what other people did in that same situation. For example, I was going through a breakup a few years ago where the relationship was ending for a very specific reason that nobody around me could like actually relate to, right? They all had really good advice, but it was just nobody could actually relate to that specific situation because I hadn't been in that position, right? So naturally, I went to the internet, and you know, mainly because I just wanted to talk to somebody who could have possibly been in that situation and could give me advice on like what they did, yada yada yada. Let me tell you, the amount of stories that I read of people in like that exact same situation, down to like the specific age, like the age that I was is the same age that they were when they were going through it, was absolutely mind-blowing, right? Both from people who responded to my posts and from just other people's threads that they posted. And I was just there like, we're really like never going through anything by ourselves. Like, it seems so obvious, but that thought is just so comforting. Like, whatever you're going through, there's someone else that has been through the exact same thing and made it to the other side. That was actually the first time I posted something on Reddit, because let me tell you, the whole situation had me stressed, right? Like nobody's business. But just the responses I got just had me like just so shocked. It was very overwhelming. Here I thought I was the only one suffering. I say all of this to say that you are not special. No, but I genuinely mean that in the best way possible. Sometimes we go through situations that make us feel so alone, like we're the only one in the history of forever that this thing has happened to, but it's not. It's not. That's probably not the case, right? Like, spend any amount of time on the internet and there's someone else who's probably gone through the exact same situation that you're in. Like, no matter how specific or how wild the situation, there's probably somebody else that's gone through the same thing and made it to the other side, right? Live to tell the tale. And really, it's like whatever you're thinking of doing, or if you have like an idea for something, if you have a thought to do something, don't let the idea of the fact that like it's not an original thing, like, at least like for me, you know, that's definitely something that would usually hold me back. Like, oh, like somebody else is already doing it, right? Like, why do I need to do it? No, you need to do it. You need to do it too. Just know whatever you're thinking of doing. It doesn't have to be some earth-shattering, mind-blowing, like fresh new take or approach on the thing for it to actually be worth your time to do, right? Like, no matter what form it's in, it's still worth your time to do it. Because like I said before, there's literally nothing new under the sun, right? So just do it. Just do whatever it is that you're thinking of doing. It's not like hurting anybody. It's honestly such a beautiful part of the human experience. We're all just here having similar experiences, good or bad, near or far. And what a time we live in today, right? With the internet, so we can just reach out to anyone no matter where they are to relate to. And better yet, we can make and share memes about it. Like, what a time to be alive. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a like and consider subscribing. What's something you once thought was unique to you until you actually saw somebody else experiencing it too? Or just an idea that you had in the back of your mind for a very long time and later on you realize. That's another thing too. There's been a couple times where, you know, I might think of like, I don't know, just some like random thing, just like a random like invention. I wouldn't even say invention, but just like I don't know, just something random, right? And later on, whether it's like a few weeks later or a few years later, I'll see that thing pop up and I'm like which came first? Did I think of the idea first and then somebody else had the similar idea and actually followed through with it? Or did I just, you know, subconsciously, or, you know, I saw it somewhere but I wasn't actually paying attention to it and it just stuck in my mind? I don't know. These things are so weird. Anyways, thank you again for watching and I will see you in my next video. Bye.